Everyone, welcome to another Memphis Zoo virtual wild encounter. I'm glad that you could join us today. And before we introduce our guests, I do have a quick note. You may notice I'm not wearing a mask. And while we do require that you wear masks at the Memphis Zoo when you come and visit us, we believe that avian species cannot contract the coronavirus from humans. That being said, we are taking social distance appropriate measures during this wild encounter. So I am keeping with my gloves to make sure I don't spread any germs. All right. Now, thank you all for joining us again. And I think we're ready to introduce our first guest, who is a diurnal bird. That means that he likes to be out during the daytime, just like you and me. So without further ado, Jojo. This is a Rhode Island red chicken. Here we go. Now you may notice he's doing a few different behaviors. Looks like that piece was a little bit too big for you. Let's go with another one of his favorite treats, corn. Now, Jojo has a few adaptations that make him really adapt at living during the daytime. First off is his eyes. Let's see if you can show your perfect eyes to us, huh? There we go. He has eyes on either side of his head. This gives him 300 degrees of vision. In fact, his eyes have 4 different cones, and he can see UV light. This allows him to be very adept at spotting out predators while also looking around for things to eat. As you can see, I have some of his favorite foods here, except he thinks they're somewhere else. Here we go. There's your perfect smile. Very nice, Jojo. Come here. Maybe if we can get some more corn for you. Yeah, that's it. Jojo. Perfect. Now, a few other adaptations that he has are his feet and feathers. Now, while Jojo may not be able to fly as long distances as other birds of prey, he can actually flap his wings for just a little bit to get him out of danger. As you can see, most of his feathers are very shiny and very densely packed together. Now this is for both protection from the elements, the heat and the cold, and also to attract mates. Jojo loves the ladies, and they love his shiny feathers. I'm actually going to stand up right here, so you'll have to say goodbye to my pretty face, but you'll have a better look at Jojo. Here we go, Jojo. Jojo. There we go. A few other adaptations is his bill or beak. You can see it's very long and thin, and he uses this to peck around at the ground to try and find food. It's pretty cool. It's actually hooked downwards to a point, and this allows him to, yeah, you know where the food is. There we go. This allows him to look for bugs, fruit, nuts, and young plants. You may notice something that he's doing. He's doing a little noise. This is known as clucking. Roosters can actually make a bunch of different noise. They can crow, which you may know is the alarm clock for many farmers. There you go. He's very happy and excited to have so much food here today. Perfect. Now, a few other adaptations that are unique to chickens. You may notice on top of his head is what's called a comb. It looks sort of like a comb that you might brush your hair with. This is actually to help him attract the ladies again. He's a big ladies man, and you got to have a good hairdo if you want to get all the hens. Now, a few things that make him unique too is he also has what's known as an omnivorous diet, which means he can eat plants and animals. Makes him really good at surviving and looking for food. He can eat almost anything. as in with most nocturnal birds are birds of prey, and they have very different diets. Let's see, can you get some attention? Jojo, come here. And the last adaptation we want to talk about are his ears. You may see them on the side of his head. Those lobes, just like you and I, he has earlobes. And this allows him to hear predators coming from a long ways away. They're located on the back of his head because anything on the front he has a better chance of seeing and needs to hear different things like predators, maybe the sound of insects as he cocks his head towards the ground and listens to the dirt to see if there's anything alive in there. Now, before we hand it over to our next segment, talking about nocturnal birds and birds of prey, do we have any questions about Jojo the Chicken?
Oh, we certainly do. Why don't we start with our usual shout-outs? We've got Cindy saying hi from Jackson, Tennessee, and that he's so beautiful. And Cindy would also like to know, how does he protect himself?
Well, that's a very good point. He has several adaptations which help him survive predators. First is his thick coat of feathers. Feathers may seem soft, but they're actually very important to protect his thin skeleton. Yes, you know exactly where the treats are.
I was going to say, is he going to stick his whole head inside that little treat bag now?
Well, let's hope not. I want to have him in good view. The second thing is he may flap his wings, try and fly away, and raise his feet in order to... Yes, I know, right here. Right here, Jojo. If you can see his feet. Jojo, come here. And he may scratch at his predators. His feet are known as... they're known as iridactyl, which means they have 3 toes on the front and 1 toe on the back.
I was going to say, if you said that toe on the back, I mean, does that help him scratch so that he's using to defend himself?
Yeah, that helps him keep his balance and also scratch at things on the ground in order to try and eat them.
That's great. I would like to just comment, baby dinos.
Yeah, that's right.
Watching.
They're actually evolved right from the dinosaurs, which means that they don't have good nighttime vision. Dinosaurs did not spend a lot of time out at night. Yes, hello. Very rude of you. Come here, Jojo.
And Cindy's back to how
Jojo.
much will Jojo eat in a day?
They'll eat about a quarter cup of grain. About a quarter cup of grain, a few tablespoons of veggies.
That's great. So thinking of how much Jojo eats a day, what's his favorite snack?
Usually he likes peas, corn. Sometimes he likes cantaloupe, but today he's not the biggest fan.
Oh. And how old is Jojo?
Jojo is a few years old. He was raised here at the Memphis Zoo. His favorite snack is also bugs.
Ooh, yes. Let's say I'm going to partake in that snack, but I've heard they're a good place for protein.
Yeah, it's a very sustainable source of food.
Now, also to talk about the animals that people wouldn't think have a personality, but I'm sure, and we've seen with Strawberry being very vocal and very brave with the camera. What's Jojo kind of like?
Well, Jojo is actually one of the more, he's higher in the pecking order than the other chickens. Yeah, so he usually goes and gets his first pick of the food before the other chickens.
Yeah?
And he'll pick out his favorite snacks first. Just like any other animal, he may get in some disagreements, but for me, he's been pretty well-tempered. He's been very interested in food, very food-motivated, which is something that we really do like in our animals.
Now, what's he doing there on that table, scratching his beak?
Yeah, he's cleaning his beak. It's covered with all sorts of juices from vegetables and peas and fruit.
I think he's looking at you for more peas, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's all the peas we have for you today, Jojo.
Well, Gallimimus, our usual, and tunes in every day, would just like to say a good afternoon to everybody.
Well, good afternoon to you. Thanks for tuning in.
And those of you who can't see off screen, Jojo's going to take a little peek at my computer over here. But Jojo, they can't see if you're all the way over there, buddy.
There we go.
So what other fun things should we know about Jojo and why he's more adapted to daytime living?
Well, that's a great question. So one of my favorite characteristics of chickens are the distinctive wattles, which is the little piece of skin beneath his neck.
Look at that.
There we go. That actually helps him regulate his heat. If he's too hot, this open skin allows him to transfer heat much better.
The camera now.
It helps it cool off.
He want to show off that waddle.
Yeah, he wants to show it off. But that's pretty much it for his daytime adaptations. Again, his biggest adaptation for being in the daytime is sleeping at night, roosting at night, and that means he's safe from predators for the most part.
Well, before we switch over to our friend Liz here with some fun bio facts, we've got some notable comments from Kathy saying, just beautiful. Sydney saying, thank you guys so much for these live views. I love the Memphis Zoo. Dee Dee, terrific discussion. And Kathy, big shout out, thank you to the interpretation department.
All right, thank y'all.
All right, guys, I'm going to switch you over here. Say goodbye to our friend Jojo as we look at this beautiful mural in Classroom 2. And switch it over to our friend Liz, another familiar face that we always see around. Saw her last year at her snake shows, and we're sad she can't do them right now. But Liz, what do you have for us today?
All right, so he talked about diurnal animals, and I'm going to talk about one of my absolute favorite animals. It's a nocturnal animal, and if you tuned in last week, you may have seen her. She is an owl, specifically a barn owl. Now, I don't have her with me today, but I have a lot of fun bio facts. So, one of the first things that you may know about nocturnal animals is they're awake at nighttime. So you can see here we have a skull. Now, if you notice, the eye sockets take up most of the head.
Whoa, so that's not scooped out by accident. That's really all that eye.
Yep, so I've seen an equivalency of a 3-pound bird has the same eye size as like a 300-pound human. Like they're the same exact size. Now, they need those really big eyes to see at nighttime. Now, their eyes aren't round like ours. They're going to be more elongated, kind of like a barrel. Now, there are some pros and cons to having really long barrel-shaped eyes. And the first pro would be that you can see really well at nighttime. Now, the con to that is your eyes really can't move around in the socket. So they have to actually turn their head to look. Now, they can't turn their heads all the way around like a lot of people think, but they can actually turn their heads about 270 degrees. Now, it also helps that their eyes are on the front of their heads because they are predators, and their eyes in the front kind of act like binoculars. Now, another really, really cool adaptation that a bird of prey, like an owl, has is they have really large talons. So when they are flying around at night and they find a prey item, sort of like a rat or maybe a squirrel, what they're going to do is fly down and grab their prey. Now, these talons help for holding onto the prey as well as squeezing them, because they are most of the time going to grab their prey and fly off somewhere where it's more safe for them to eat, because large mammals can hunt at night.
So Liz, we do have a jokester here on YouTube. CheesePoof24 wants to know, do owls need sunglasses during the day?
They do not. So like our ambassadors here at the zoo, they've kind of adapted to living a backwards life. So we've gone to see Maggie at nighttime for like a snooze, and she will be fast asleep. It's really funny. And she also takes lots of naps after she eats, kind of like after you eat a big meal and you need to go take a nap. Our owls are really funny here at the zoo. Now, another one of their cool adaptations, unlike the chickens over there, chickens really can't fly, but barn owls and any other kind of raptor are going to be excellent flyers. Now, the most particular adaptation that they have on their feathers is they're actually fanned out at the end. So if we can get the camera up, I can demonstrate exactly how their feathers work. So these serrated ends help them fly silently. So a good way to kind of demonstrate that is if you take your hand. We're all going to look really silly for a minute. So you're going to take your hand and you're going to wave it next to your ear, and you can hear a lot. Now, if you take your hand and you spread your fingers and you wave it next, You can still hear a little bit, but not as much, and that's how their feathers act. So it helps them fly silently and sneak up on their prey. Now their prey are going to be most of the time rodents, but anything small that they can grab and fly away with, they're probably going to. Now here at the zoo we feed mostly rats and sometimes small chicks. But as you can see here, this is called a pellet. So they can't actually digest all of those. Can we see it now? Perfect. So after they've had a big meal and they've digested everything that they can of that prey item, they're actually gonna, I don't know, upchuck this pellet. That's the easiest way you could say that. And it's just all of the things that they couldn't digest.
Wow, look at that. So what's this on the side here with the little bone that looks like more upchuck, but it's got some more bones in there?
That's actually a digested pellet. So a really cool thing I got to do at camp one time is you take pellets and dissect them and see what you can find. And sometimes you can find an entire skeleton, which is really, really cool.
Okay, well, we do have some questions for you. First, of course, some notable comments. We had a hello, Liz, from Kathy.
Hello, Kathy.
Sydney would like to just say that she just loves owls.
Oh, they are probably my favorite animal. Don't tell any of the other animals I work with, though.
And, of course, Sydney would like to know, how do they protect themselves?
Oh, my. So they have, well, one thing that we already talked about is these really large talons. Now, when working with birds of prey, that is one of the things you're going to have to look out for because they can be really sharp. But the other thing that they're going to defend themselves with is what I was going to talk about next, which is these beaks. Their beaks are actually designed for being a predator. So the top part kind of overlays with the bottom part, and it acts like scissors. So when they get their prey and they fly off somewhere safe for them to eat, they're actually going to tear their prey with that beak. And it also acts as a kind of a defense if they need to. I definitely would not want to be bitten by a bird of prey.
All right, and Kathy just wants to comment. We have a big tree with a large hole and have baby owls in there right now.
Oh my goodness, I am so jealous of you. I watch a lot of nests. Every time I come to work, the first thing I do is pull up 2 nests. One of them is an owl nest, one is a bald eagle nest. And if I ever have time, I sit down and check on them. And right now is a really perfect time to watch them fledge. So keep an eye on that nest and see if you can actually see them poking their heads out or even fly off. Super exciting.
Now at home, if I do see a nest with baby owls and maybe one's fallen out, what can I do as baby birds are coming out?
Just give them plenty of space and leave them alone. That's with any bird you see. If you like to go out birding like I do, make sure you watch from mid-distance. Definitely don't disturb any nests. So yeah, just give them plenty of space. And if you watch from a distance, you're probably going to see them do some really cool things, some natural behaviors that you may not get to see if you get up close to them.
And then if I do see a baby bird fall out of the nest, do I go rescue it? If I touch it, will the mommy bird never take it back?
That is a good question. If you know that you're not going to be able to put it back in the nest, definitely call wildlife rehabbers. Otherwise, if you can reach the nest, maybe try to put back in there, off the ground somewhere at least.
Absolutely.
But definitely don't try to bring it into your house.
Sounds like a good idea. Heather Davis would like to know, how can you tell the difference between a male and female owl?
That is a good question. So, females are going to be a little bit bigger. I know with barn owls, they have speckles all over their belly, and I've heard that the more speckles that they have, it's going to be a female. But females are just going to be a lot bigger than males normally. It's kind of hard to tell the difference. They look exactly alike. Let's see, what was the other thing I was going to talk about besides the beaks? Oh, their hearing. Yes. So they actually have really cool faces. So a barn owl has a disc on her face. So that's a really easy way to tell the difference. And what that is actually doing, other than making them look very adorable, is actually funneling the sound directly to their ears. Now, one ear is going to be a little lower, one is going to be a little bit higher. And what that does, it helps them triangulate exactly where their prey is. So that is the biggest way that they find their prey besides their eyes. So at nighttime, they're going to need all the help they can get. So between the eyes and the ears, they are excellent hunters. You have any other questions about birds of prey or owls in general?
Not right now, but Kathy did want to thank for the comment, and she's going to definitely watch from afar. She has some pictures of the babies. They are white, and she's just so excited to keep looking.
If they are fuzzy and white, they are probably a barn owl, and I'm very jealous. They're my favorite.
Aw, sweet barn owls. Well, guys, as we talked about, Cheese Poof is back. Anything I can do if an owl is near my house that screams like Alice Cooper?
Oh, then that is definitely a barn owl. All owls kind of sound different, but the barn owls are known for having a screech. It's very terrifying if you hear it in the middle of the night or you're early hunting. I know a lot of time hunters get scared by it, but my other favorite owl is a barred owl, and they do a "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" So if you hear that, that's definitely a barred owl, but I don't know if you can really do anything about it. Just enjoy that you are in the presence of an owl.
Well, guys, we talked a lot about birds and their differences, but what else can we do to help owls and bird species in our own neighborhoods?
The biggest thing I like to tell people is don't use pesticides. So I know sometimes living in the city, there's a lot of rodents around and we may not enjoy them as much. I know I love rodents, maybe not in my house though. So use some natural pesticides or live traps and kind of relocate them, because when rodents eat pesticides, owls and other raptors eat those rodents and in turn get poisoned themselves. So definitely stay away from pesticides. If you see one, definitely leave it alone. A lot of times these guys get hit by cars, so call a wildlife rehabber. But just enjoy them from a distance. That's one of the biggest things that you can do. All right, guys, so thank you so much for tuning into our virtual wild encounter. I had so much fun talking to you about one of my favorite animals, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the chicken over there. But I hope to see you guys next time.